Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to another Tuesday evening right here on We the People, presented by the Diamond Factory. Well, our government is shut down, and there's always new things coming out of our favorite city of Washington, D.C. And I'm actually starting to feel like one of these late night guest hosts because I always seem to have an opening monologue that is pertinent to the show. So tonight, I'm going to start out with some people think the government shutdown is just political theater, a temporary tug of war between parties. But what if the chaos is the plan? Tonight, we're going to connect the dots between the 225 project shutdown and the blueprint from Project 2025, a plan designed to shrink the federal government until it can't protect, it can't regulate, and it can't respond. And then Washington falls silence. The first voices muted are those in black and brown communities. So, is this a plan or is this a coincidence? As we used to say back in the day, is it live or is it Memorex? Well, tonight we have Brother Derek returning with us. How you doing tonight, Brother Derek?
I'm good. How about you, James?
Oh, glad. Hey, every day above ground is a good day.
Amen.
So I see brother. I see Brother Masada is here. Brother Masada, how are you doing today? We had a
good. How's everybody?
Everybody's pretty good. I was just getting ready to tell our brother Derek we had a nice little meeting yesterday. The three of us, Brother Machado and LaSalle, we all live in San Diego, so we kind of got together and had a little fellowship and was talking about some things. So we will definitely get you caught up as the days go on. But how are you doing today, Brother Derek? We missed you last week.
Yeah, man, I hated to miss it. I had a hard deadline and, just couldn't work it out. But when I grow up, I'm going to get out to San Diego and see how the real people live. The ballers live, because I know you can't live. Hey, I know it's not cheap out in San Diego.
No, it's kind of like they say in the army, you got to innovate,
There you go. There you go. Do what you do. Well, that's good. No, that's fantastic. I really do look forward to getting with you brothers in person. Ripping the flesh and, maybe having a brew or two, just doing a few things.
Yeah.
Chopping it up in person.
Sounds really good. And it was part of some of the things that we talked about yesterday, getting the brothers together in a little fellowship. Brother, Derek, you've been part of the Washington machine, and you might have a little more of an insight into what's going on than we do. So before we get into the meat of this, can you kind of explain to us what a government shutdown really is?
Sure. It's basically two sides that come to the place where they're not willing to make a deal at that particular time. Nobody's willing to budge. And I'll say for the good of the people. I think I went through 4 in my 25 years of government. The last one I went through was in the Trump administration. And of course, it's the longest one in history. And he's proclaiming that this one's going to be longer. And it's already, you know, more caustic, it's more damaging because in every previous shutdown, because it wasn't the government workers making the decisions, right? We were pawns in all this, but we knew that eventually, ultimately, we would get paid. In this government shutdown, it is being used as an avenue, an excuse, honestly, to get rid of people, to rift people permanently. There were, I think, just for example, in my old department, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, this week there were between 1,000 and 1,200 people who were fired. And once again, in the haphazard manner in which this is done, some they immediately rehired because they didn't assess what they were doing. We always have heard, inspect what you expect. They just took the Elon Musk was like the blowtorch and just said, "Oh, cut," because that's kind of part of Russell Voigt's plan. But I think that, for example, I do know that the Democrats are trying to focus on the fact that at least some 12 million people are going to lose their health insurance, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's yeah, you know who she is and what she stands for. But even she, when she found out that two of her adult children, she said their health insurance is going to go up well over 200%. And so now she's saying, hey, wait a minute, this is because it's going to hurt a whole lot of conservatives as well. And so I think that, again, he's always had this hard on to, in my opinion, destroy Obama's legacy in the Affordable Care Act. And this is one thing that, because he tried over 70 times in court. So usually it can last a couple days. It could last maybe even a couple weeks. But people knew they were going to come back to a job. But this time it's very, very different. Already over 320,000 Black women have lost their jobs in the federal government through to these rifts, these reduction in forces. So it's there's a lot of people who are on edge because, again, the future's uncertain here, and I think it's really largely an excuse to drastically cut the federal government, because that's a big part of his plan. Him and Russell Voigt, the principal architect of Project 2025. So he says, hey, we're going to have the longest shutdown in history, and we're not going to negotiate. And for once, because usually the Dems tend to cave. This time they're saying, well, we're got to fight for, our people and their health care. And, hey, all sides have problems, but I think one big problem a lot of people who are maybe more progressive have had with the Democrats in the last few years is they rarely will dig in and say, hey, we're going to go to the mat over this. And so they at this point, they still are. And of course, the other part about the shutdown, James, is that it keeps the current and former president from dealing with the Epstein files, because, they won't swear in the Arizona congresswoman who would be the difference maker, and her being there voting to demand that they open them would be the deciding vote, and the one vote that they're missing. It's very convenient to keep the government shut down and do what you want to do anyway in that interim.
Now, also, and I know as far as the draft order is concerned, this is probably inconsequential, but I think I heard something, and I think that this is really primarily theater, because even the little elementary, knowledge that I have of the government, in order for troops to be paid, Congress has to have the final vote. him telling Peter Hexes that to find some money to pay the troops is a smokescreen, because any payment that has to be made to the troops has to go through Congress. Am I right or wrong?
Well, in the world before this president, a whole lot of things had to go through Congress that simply aren't anymore. He is just bypassing the law in so many places. And in fact, I believe personally the only reason that now they're scurrying to try and get the troops paid is because they've showed a lot of images of them in soup lines and then trying to get food, because the troops aren't well paid. And yet for what we asked them to do. And so there have been a lot of these kind of images. So the images coming out of this last month, a couple of weeks in terms of the shutdown, but so many other things like, that we won't talk about this time, but like the raid in Chicago where you're going in after supposedly illegals and you haul a bunch of black people and legal Latino people out in their drawers, butt naked, in the coat, all kind of other things. So I'm saying that's something that has not happened, in my lifetime. You'd have to go back to the Japanese internment camps to see something like that happening, particularly to people who are here legally. So, I mean, he's subverted the laws in so many different ways that the problem is it's becoming normal, the norm. Yes, that's him again, just, doing what he does.
Well, payday is tomorrow.
And a lot of them aren't going to get paid.
You think?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even from the last time, I think the way the pay period runs, most of them the federal workers that were ripped, they got a half a check, not a whole check. So they're already hurting, and so it's going to be must see TV, unfortunately, and that we play with people's, we're willing to play with people's lives and livelihoods like this.
Brother Masada, how are you doing this evening?
Not so great, really. Not just the government shutdown. I believe, like Brother Derek said, the shutdown is just another manipulation tactic that he's using to throw off the scent, not just with the Epstein files, but a lot of other covert things they're doing in the background, and they're getting everybody to look at this. When they have government shutdowns, it's really sad because it's both parties, and it's usually one party trying to force the other party, and they forgot, just like the name of this, we the people. I dislike Democrat, Republican, because nobody talks anymore about the American people. It's just what party does this and what party does that. And then also, as of yesterday, Mississippi, once again, my famous Mississippi, they've had 9 deaths from homecoming shootings and things from, and it's always up north. And I hate to say the northern half because I love the whole state. It's just hard to. So that's happening right now.
It's always blame the North. You're right. Just go ahead. Always the North.
Yeah, more deaths and more things happening down there, and it's frustrating. A lot of things going on right now are frustrating with education. Now, not only did they shut down the government, but now the IRS and the student loans are hitting people and coming harder at people. And so for 3-4 years of the Biden administration, they got maybe promises a little bit that something was going to happen with student loans and people were getting held up and it got pushed back. And now this administration is just allowed to, I'm kind of confused still of how he's able to bypass Congress and all the laws and things we made in the Constitution. They're not being upheld, but nobody's screaming impeach and nobody's screaming anything. And so I wonder what power does he really hold on them, on the powers that be, that nobody is coming up and being like, hey, this is all wrong. So there's a lot on my mind today.
Well, like I said, this is started with the perception during the 1619 project, and the perception that those people, meaning in this case, Caucasian, white people, whatever, want to keep brown and black people, minorities, they want to keep us in our place. Now, in our place means being subservient. But when you try to make the majority, and if we are not already the majority, it's just a matter of what 2030 or 2031. That we will be the majority. But as you know, once one segment gets power, it's very hard for you to get them to relinquish that power, at least. And I'm not saying, that we're supposed to go out and grab our guns, but without some kind of civil strife, uh, saying it politely. So let's start with you were talking about the architect of the 2025 project there, Derek. Can you give us a little more background, since you have been in officially part of one Trump administration, and then we have this administration, which has become even more um, solidified because at least we were able to move some things during the first Trump administration, and we did have some oversights. But this man blatantly said that he knew nothing of the 2025 project. And I believe he's mentioned in it over 1,000 times, as Representative Crockett told us, something like that. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, he did. That's one of his favorite things. Well, I don't know anything about it. I haven't read anything about it. And so, but lately he has not been distancing himself from it. And I think a really big difference between this administration and the first, I think the first kind of, in a way, he was, partially surprised that he won. And I just think that he surrounded himself with a bunch of basically traditional Republicans, for the most part, like General Milley, all these people who left him. Went through 3 or 4 chiefs of staff, but these were traditional Republicans. Whatever we think about them, it was an animal we knew what we were dealing with. You know what I'm saying? These people that he surrounded himself now with are all yes people, and so that's what those people push back on a lot of what he wanted to do. Nobody's pushing back that I know of in this administration. There are a few people, in that party that are pushing back, but then they end up leaving for the most part because, most of them have been neutered and spayed, quite honestly. I think they're just afraid. They're intimidated. His bully tactics are because he's either going to take you into court on these salacious lawsuits, or he's going to pull your money because he uses that money, like a cudgel on these universities and everybody else, the media. I mean, did you hear that today? Well, they had talked about it a little earlier, but now anybody covering the Pentagon, anybody covering you can't write anything without it being approved. And, most of the media said, no, we're not going to do that because one of the
Isn't that
keys to
called
this.
censorship?
Yes, absolutely. Straight up and down. And, so all of our hallmarks of a free society, quote unquote free society, are all being stripped away. In fact, I don't know if you knew that Christy Nome had put out this, it's a promo, and it's gave it to all the airports to run, blaming the Dems for the shutdown, saying that if you're going to have trouble with getting through, and thank God, I have a long list of these cities, and as far as I know, every single one of them has said, no, we're not doing that. So I'm saying we're seeing more and more resistance from different places coming in. I mean, that's what it's going to have to take because that's the only way you deal with a bully. But it can't just be one or two. It's got to be a mass. Because I'm really looking forward to this next No Kings Day event. Because look, you look at these town halls that we've had. Of course, which he's told his people to stop holding. These are angry white people that are, it's one thing to do what you do to us and to Latinos and Asians, but to white people, we're gonna see. It's must see TV for sure. But yeah, Russell Voigt, he said, and you read Project, and he said it a lot. His goal was to make federal workers feel terror every time they come to work. And what kind of human being says something like that openly, right?
Well, what is kind of your take on this whole thing here? Because like uh, Brother Derek was saying here, this is not just starting to affect black and brown people. This is starting to affect those that thought that they were the chosen ones. Now all of a sudden, they're under attack also. As we said, when you make these cutbacks, a lot of people are affected, not just one particular part of society.
Well,
So when you see a person that's willing to sacrifice his own, which is usually what we think of, crabs in a barrel. Uh, you know, uh, this seems to be, like a free for all here. And uh, do we really have a stake in this race?
we all have a stake in it. The demographics, their own, the chosen ones, everything that people think it's gonna be, it's not. The race war, it's not. Everything has flipped. The demographics, the what people are thinking, and they're saying the chosen ones are what side. It really is the have and have nots, and all it is boiling down to is that a lot of people who thought they had are finding out they're not. They're the have nots. They're not in that bracket that they thought they were in. So he's not doing it to his own. They're living good. The people who are over a certain tax bracket that are in his people, they're doing good. I'm confused on the government themselves. Everybody's like, we're allowing him to do it. He's bullying this and that. And my question is, where's the American people in the Congress? Not, I want us to stand up, we the people, but it's up to our judicial system. It's up to what we voted for. And I'm not talking about the presidency. I'm talking about all the statutes and laws that keep a president from doing this. My big question is, why are they allowing him to bully? Usually a bully is a bully because he's bigger and he hasn't met anybody to punch him and knock him out. Or in that political game, a bully is a bully because they're blackmailing. And so what is he blackmailing on all of them to make everybody so quiet? And I hear Derek saying he's taking away their pay. He's taking away this. He's doing this with judges and all. And I'm wondering, so there's nobody in the Supreme Court. There's nobody in Congress. There's nobody brave enough to be like, hey, we're going to go and put him put the country out of his misery. I don't want to say him because it's hard for me to talk because I know it's just not him. I know it's not one man. One man is not able to do this alone. So it's our whole government. I don't care who likes that or not like it. It's the entire government. If you're going to tell me one man is able to do this, even with the Republicans, if you're going to tell me one man has all this power with one party to do everything that's doing illegal, and I'm not doing speculation, I'm not doing he say, she say, we're doing, this dude literally is up there purging on everything, on court, on grandstands. He go to trial, he's lying about things, and they play tapes. He's doing a lot of other stuff, and nobody is caring. He's literally breaking constitutional laws as a president, and we're all saying, "How is he doing that? Oh, nobody's able to do this, or he's going to take this from them." And I'm like, one person. And then we talk about if we go to Obama, and I want to go to Obama. Let's go to a Biden. Biden couldn't do this because he had to hold on to constitutional laws. He had to be that president. He could be impeached if he didn't do this. Every president has been upheld a little bit to what they say the status quo is, except this one. and nobody's asking why. Not one person. He doesn't have all this power. I just don't. I don't understand it. So I'm kind of dumbfounded. It's hard for me to speak on something when I can't clearly articulate it because I don't. I'm looking at it. I watch. Y'all ever watch the 5 Things You Should Know? It's on like CNN or something. I don't know what channel it's on, but 5 things to get your day started. My wife watches it. We're watching it, and I'm like, I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking to myself, am I in a dream? Is this really? This is not real. Everything that's happening, it doesn't feel real, and it's like, how can this happen? And I'm at lost for words. I keep saying that, but I'm at a loss for words. I can't. I have nothing intelligent to say because there's nothing intelligent happening. Yeah, we just talked about how he went on there and said he knows nothing about the 2025 project, and then you can play 50 million videos of him saying it, and nobody is that. And then he can censorship. You can put a censorship on media and free speech, freedom of speech. That's violating the basic laws that we have, and they're still allowing it to happen. I really don't get it. I don't understand it anymore. I don't want to speak on that judicial side of it, the legislative side, any government part of it, because everything I've read, everything I was taught is mostly like we already thought and knew as Black people what we're talking about. Black people already didn't trust the government, say fuck the government, because we already know they make the rules up and do what they want to do. And now this chump is actually doing a great thing. He really is. He's doing a great thing. Everybody may not hear it right like I'm saying it, but he's doing a great thing because he's openly exposing all the stuff. So the next time when we do have a next president, we have this, I don't want to hear what they can and cannot do. I don't want to hear what we're allowing. We're going towards communism. That's what we're going towards. We're going towards communism and dictatorship. And we, as a people, we the people, aren't letting it happen. The government's allowing it to happen. I don't give a damn. The government is allowing it to happen. With the military, that's good for them. I know a lot of military. We were military. They're going to be the one deciding forces unless they come up with some AI. You're not paying them. You're disrespecting them. You think they're going to serve this commander in chief? Because I don't think nobody in the military sees him as commander in chief unless they're trying to be a part of ICE and the good old boys. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months. It's already, I'm like I told y'all every show, I'm waiting till he had 2 more years or so, 3 more years. I don't even know how long he's been in now. It feels like 5 already. But
it's only been 9 months. That's the crazy thing. We're not even at a year.
Yeah. It's
Masada, I personally believe, honestly, when we let him.
Was this foundation set during the first administration while you were there?
Was it? I mean, you could see the things he was trying to do. You could see, and some of them he did. But again, there were all these guardrails because, January 6th, when he got away with that,
was it.
It was on because, when we didn't put him in jail, or at the very least say you can never be in office again. We let him get away, and that just empowered him further. Because, we're watching the assault on the Capitol. I'm looking at him saying, this is a dream. This isn't America. Even think about when Nixon did what he did, Watergate and everything. It was the Republicans that they said, hell, you got to go. We're not having this. Yeah. That's how things have changed so differently. We're unrecognizable. People want to talk about quote unquote banana republics where you can have overthrow. Well, so he said today, if I want to call martial law, I don't see any reason. That's one of his favorite things. I don't see any reason I can't. I'm the president. I can do it.
He got confirmation. January 6th gave him confirmation of what James said earlier. They don't want to see they want to keep us in our place. And he got confirmation that everybody is with him. They're scared that it's a big dynamic shift in power. And when I say power, I don't speak on power like they speak on power, but it's a big shift in power on the world dynamics of who's becoming a majority and who's becoming a minority. Old white men, and I'm not afraid to say it, old white men are dying out, but old white men want to keep it in there. Back in the days, people always think that they were talking about we can vote. White women and women, where y'all at? Because they're coming for you all too. And so what he got was January 6th was confirmation on, hey, America is this racist. It is like we all thought, Derek. It's not like we didn't think. It's just like we all thought. And they're just showing it now of, okay, we're gonna overthrow our own government. And what's the reason we're gonna overthrow it? Because we want white supremacy to stay white supremacy. That's the only reason. That's not there's no logical reason other than that everybody in the government allowed him to get away with January 6th, and then they allow him to pardon the people from it. And nobody put up a fight. If I'm wrong, please tell me. Please let me go and research it. But I didn't hear one congressperson, one anybody putting up a fight about January 6th and about him pardoning the people he pardoned. Not one.
Well, there were some people that complained and some people were really bitter about it because a lot of people were at risk because of that. Hell, I feel at risk because of that because, I'm out there. But it got to be more than talk. There's got to be a collective action and the right people. And because, quite honestly, he owns the Supreme Court,
Of course. He put 3 people on it. What is it?
And part of it was, and this is where Masada, you made this point, and I think there's some legitimacy to it. Like they told Obama, we're not going to let you. We're too close to the election. He kind of essentially he accepted it. Now he had been Trump, they wouldn't have cared nothing about that. He'd have pushed through. And so, there's some dynamics there, and that's something we're going to pay for and have been paying for. Another thing, honestly, and again, I had some criticism for every president I worked for. My one with Biden, because I think he did actually a lot of really good things, particularly protecting us through COVID. But Merrick Garland, he drug his feet, and Trump kept delaying, and never went to court. And that was on his attorney general, who he was not nearly aggressive enough, and that's why we are where we are. And for at least that's one reason, because you were in charge. You could have held them accountable, and we didn't do it. And here we are.
Yeah, and here we are. And one thing about Obama, y'all, it's never a knock on Obama because he is one person trying to do it against a whole. You got one black man in there, one light brother, whatever you want to call him, in there trying to do things, and you got over 100 some more people against him. So I definitely understand that, but that brings to my point of this regime now. Why are they so comfortable with letting him do it? I don't believe he has to bully them. I don't believe that at all. I believe he's their mask so he can do what they can't do. So they're using him to do what they really want to do, and then they're trying to say they don't want to do it. But if they didn't want that to happen, I've been alive for a couple of years now. I've seen Congress and the government stop stuff that they didn't want to happen. A lot of presidents, I wasn't old enough or alive during the Nixon time, but I know a lot of power is not. We used to believe that the president didn't have a lot of power, and now we're saying the president has all the power, and I'm kind of confused because that's what separates us from a dictatorship and communism to what we're supposed to have with diplomacy and democracy. And we're going away from it because a lot of people in those backgrounds who maybe complained or not, those to me were fake, false complaints. He's doing exactly what the Republicans want him to do. It's the people who have the money right now. He's playing their game they want him to play, and they're telling us that they don't want it to be. But if nobody wanted it to be, they all would come and make an agreement to stop stuff. Even with this healthcare thing now, Democrats and people they're saying that we're doing this until we get the healthcare. Who is that really affecting? That's not who is that affecting. Is that affecting people who make over $200,000 a year? I don't think so. They got good insurance. They're cool. I know the woman said that it's affecting her now and all. It's just like the farmers. Everybody who voted for him is saying, "Oh, now it's hurting me. Now it's hurting me." And I'm like, so you were okay when it was hurting people other than you. So you're the same. They all fall in that same line. Everybody's in that same line.
They just bailed out Argentina because that's one of his buddies, and you can see white farmers now on TV complaining bitterly because now other people are buying the stuff that they produce, and then China too.
China is buying soybeans, but not from the United States.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we're in danger of real danger of not being the power anymore. Because hell, our friends are our enemies, and our enemies are our friends. Nobody can trust us. And I mean, I saw something in Chicago the other day that I didn't think I would probably ever see. And this white woman running for office, but she's anti this regime and pushing this. And those ICE people, they just knocked her down and drug her like she, you can do that to Latinos, you can do that to black people, but when you see them do that to a white woman, we're in another place that in our society. So it's ruthless.
Didn't we say that when the Nazis,
Oh yeah,
started,
yeah. Mhm.
I mean, these are the white people, but you know, it kind of brings me to another subject here because we're talking about red and Democrats and Republicans, and now there's this thing called the Purple Revolution, where the red and the blue are supposed to combine together, put their uh, elements together, and it makes purple. Well, actually, it makes violet, but anyway, they're calling this thing the Purple Revolution. Now, I'm a little skeptical when all of a sudden people decide that because we made a mistake, we want to rectify that by bringing you into our fold. Now, as I've said so many times, to me, trust is a big issue. Most, if not all, of my relationships are based on trust. So, if I could not trust you before and you didn't have my best interests at heart, how am I supposed to believe that all of a sudden you have seen the error of your ways? To me, this is kind of a Trojan horse that's being wheeled into uh, maybe be, uh, uh, what do you call it? Maybe the 53rd card. We know there's only 52 cards in a deck, but I mean, if you're going to cheat, you might as well just throw another one in there. But I'm not understanding the acceptance of bending my sword into a plowshare when I'm still at war. Now, maybe I have the wrong concept here. Maybe I'm just a pessimist. But Derek, any comments here?
Well, in a way, it's like the dichotomy between Malcolm and Martin. We needed Malcolm. I was, particularly as a younger man, I was more in Martin's camp and still love Martin. But you know what? I love Malcolm too, because you got to have somebody that strikes fear in the heart of the adversary. You better have them, or you will get steamrolled. Like, I personally, because it's I mean, I think we made a lot of progress, honestly, through nonviolence, but we didn't have the juice you couldn't overthrow nobody then. And I think there were people whose hearts and minds were won over because we did it in a very dignified manner. But this here, what we're dealing with now, this is a whole nother animal. So I remember when here in Atlanta, when there was 1,000 former military people. They were all strapped. They were in their gear, and they were up on Stone Mountain because that was one of the places, one of the foundings of the Klan was there.
Right.
And it was powerful because I remember because in those Klansmen, they didn't show up that day. That was So I think that sometimes and I'm never gonna, call for, a war or anything, but still people have to respect you. They have to know that some people just ain't gonna go out like that. To be perfectly honest, and I agree with you on the trust part because, for example, I know that this administration, like the Afghanis, that apparently really sacrificed a lot, risked everything, and we just left them, just for slaughter. And now we're sending them all back, which, sudden death, right? Because these are people who were informants and people who helped save our people. So yeah, if
Don't
you
forget what
can,
they don't forget the Kurds now.
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, remember when he went over to where was it? It was Normandy for the big celebration, and he didn't get out of the car because it was
Because
raining.
it was raining. Yeah, he didn't
Yeah,
want to get wet.
so yeah, you're right. You wonder how can military people support this unless they are fascists or part of that camp, and certainly there are those there. To me, I wonder how many of these ICE people who are getting recruited at $50,000, which is it's a decent amount of money for people who never made any,
You heard that
particularly
too.
if you want to go bust heads and
If you don't like your police officers, come join ICE. That's kind
there
of
you
the
go. There you
that's
go.
kind of the ad. If you don't
That's
like
it.
your local police, come get
That's
$50,000.
it.
He's basically saying if you're a good old boy with a hood and y'all want to be part of my
Yeah.
regime, come on, because he needs more of them. Because I'm gonna
Yeah.
answer the question for the military. The military is not the Nazi military back in the days that's gonna allow it, and they're not gonna do it to their people. Um, it's gonna be a choice. Everybody's gonna have to decide. There's not gonna be like back in the day where some people didn't say anything and you got to just be like, oh, I'm not in it. Even the people that are religious, anybody, I'm not upholding violence either. But it's gonna come down to it. You're gonna have to choose a side. And people are like, what side is that? And honestly, once again, it's the have and have nots, mean you're all for the good or you're all for the fucked up. If you're gonna allow this to happen, there's no I can't hold my tone
No
and
middle
not
ground, huh?
yeah.
No,
There's no middle.
got choose sides. I know that's right.
You're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Is it right or wrong? Are you gonna be for all the people or are you gonna be for certain people? And what's happening now is like the farmers, um, and just everybody who's finding out who thought they were on that side of it, who voted for him and who's allowing this to happen, they're all finding out, oh shit, we're about to be up the creek without a paddle or something, that old saying.
Yeah.
They jumped on there, but they don't have the paddle. They thought they were
Yeah.
gonna get a paddle, and they boats don't have it. While those people are on yachts, they put them in little paddle boats and then giving them a paddle, and now they're about to have to choose. So
That's right.
it's gonna be messy because even in that, when y'all speak on truce, we talked about truce yesterday. It's getting scary for me because once people start choosing and they're gonna see, they think right now which side there is gonna be winning, and they think that's the side. It's gonna be a curveball, and the have-nots are gonna come up. But I don't want the people who thought they were the haves. They're gonna try to come scurrying and trick the have-nots that they're part of that. And so when this regime, whatever happens here, we need a reset, and we need a good reset. We don't need him to come out and then them to give us another face, and then we have another 4 years of no big changes. Because we see right now, DEI, all the changes he's making, we can see what the people want, and the people can have what they want. So whoever comes up next making all these false promises or promises of change, it's going to really have to happen, because either this regime right now is going to get tore down, or we're going to have another diplomatic presidential voting, and then that regime is going to get torn down because they're going to have to uphold a lot of stuff to make up for this one. And you said it's only been 9 months. I swear, it felt like all these 2-3 years.
Yeah,
Hey,
just not.
that's why the name of my that book was The Longest 4 Years of My Life, brother. You can imagine, right? I mean, every morning, 4 o'clock. I mean, because I'm a late night to bed person, 2:30, 3, but I'm just groping for my phone about 4:30 to see what he has tweeted.
Yeah,
I got to deal with the next day as a public affairs person. So yeah, man. So yes, this is
But now, Masada, as much as I want to agree with you about the military, because I've been a part of the military, but first of all, like during his first, administration, I admit that mentioned then, this was before the 34 counts, like how can you call someone commander in chief when they refuse to serve? But to go even further than that, you talk about your faith in the military. We have Peter Hexas talking about bringing back a firing squad. He wants to actually execute, I forget who the guy's name is, but he wants to actually put him in front of a firing squad. I don't think, maybe Derek, but in my 78 years, I cannot remember a firing squad. Maybe there was since 1947. I don't know, but uh, Masada, when you see a guy that is like Hexeth being declared, well, excuse me, it's no longer the Department of Defense; it is now the Department of War. Which really, for a person that's never been in a war or through a war, it kind of, that kind of throws me off a little bit. But anyway, when you speak of the Department of War, we're talking about like World War II, World War One, when we had, a global, conflict. Uh, it, it, is he declaring war on the American people? I mean, what's your take on this? Because you seem to have a lot more confidence in the military than I do. I mean,
The reason I have confidence though is think about his 79th birthday.
remember, part of your oath is that you do not have to follow an
Serious.
illegal or was it an illegal or this, what do they call it, according to the Uniform Code of Military Justice. But
Basically,
anyway, you don't have to follow an illegal order. So go ahead to finish your thoughts on that.
well, the military, they've shown it already. The Air Force, they didn't get rid of when he wanted the DEI, he wanted the training programs of the black pilots gone. The Air Force told him, "F you, we're not going to do that," right?
Yeah, but the Marines didn't, the Army didn't.
Yeah, they didn't, but they did during his 79th birthday when they wanted him to. He was doing the parade and all of that. They weren't saluting and doing none of that towards him. It's gonna be certain people that have it because, as you know, they have people in the military that want to follow him. The war he's proclaiming. The war is trying to set us back. He said it his first presidency. Y'all keep acting wrong. We're gonna put y'all back to a time when you acted right. That quote unquote, not verbatim, but that's basically what he said, right? So my faith in the military is that I don't forgot the oath we took for so long ago, but basically you're defending against enemies, foreign
And domestic.
or domestic. Yeah. And so with that, I do believe that once again, you said white women getting beat up and dragged out, and when white people get involved, it's no longer black, Latino, and Asian. They're going to start sensing it. People sense it now. They know it's coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
That's helping us. Everything that's negative that's going on is actually helping us because it's helping other people wake up. You can come in. It's helping other people wake up. So we may not like it, and we may think it's wrong, which it is, but that's helping other people wake up because nobody can deny it now. When it was just happening to black people in your neighborhoods, they can say, "Oh, I don't see it." When it happened to Latino people in their neighborhoods, oh, it's in their neighborhood. Now it's in their schools. Now it's happening to their forums. Now it's happening to them in general. And when I say them, it's whoever thought they were white and safe, and that they thought they were white and safe, and now they found it out just because you white, you ain't safe. So it's coming.
There you go.
So Derek, once again, I'm gonna go back to this Purple Revolution thing. Just because like uh, you're white and all of a sudden you have had a bad experience, does that cause me to trust you more?
Well, I think that it really is largely about class. And I personally know a lot of white people who are advocates. Now, the question is, how far are the advocates or the allies willing to go to be, we got skin in the game. So we need them to put skin in the game, because if you get enough people putting skin in the game, you got a force. But you can't be halfway. You know what I'm saying? So more and more of the things that happen to people, you know, good people, the more they say, well, he really doesn't care about me. This is about him and his handful of wealthy people, because that's where all this money to cut health care and SNAP and
Head
cut all
Start,
these.
every
It didn't even. It's to make them richer. And so how much money do you need? So yeah, I mean,
That's the trust. We talked about that yesterday, Derek James. When I told you if I'm running and I'm running forward, I want to make sure I don't look back and y'all ain't running the other way.
that's it.
When you
That's
talk
right.
about skin in the game, it's trust. It's how many people are going to run with us while we're
Yeah,
running. Are we going to have to look back and see them running the other way or just standing there?
yeah, yeah. Because then you guys served in the military, and big ups to you. I'm thankful you for your service. One of the things I've heard a lot of times though is that in some instances, you're in there with the white guy in the foxhole or in the battle, and so because the enemy don't care who you are, and so there's some real, so that trust was developed there, because that person, sometimes they put it on the line for you and you put it on the line for them. So yeah, but we're gonna find out a whole lot when
Derek,
push comes to shove here.
I got some military friends that are retired. They're white couples,
Mhm.
all, and you would swear. I had to, it's kind of funny. I got to laugh. They're out there. We're on their social medias and all, and I'm trying to show my wife one of my friend girls from the military and her husband. And if you looked at their profile and all, you would think they were like super thumpers. You would think they were, but they're not. They're super
Right.
military. So
Yeah,
since they're super military, they don't like what's going on with Chunk,
that's right. Yeah.
because there's a lot of people that don't look like us, that you would think, because they got red, white, and blue and they're diehard
Hmm.
American, you would think they don't like you, and it's not that they don't like us. They don't like anything that's against America.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
what they're doing now is they're playing with their own lives in that office, because desecrating American during January 6th and all that. You have a lot of people that don't look like us that are really very proud of their country and they serve, and they are very spited right now, and they feel like we're getting spit on, and that's affecting them because why did they serve? Their kids serve. I have friends that have their great grandparents served down to their grandkids are serving now, and they don't like what's going on in this country. And so people like that make me feel good, because you would swear they wouldn't like me or hate me, and I can tell you they love me more than anything else on this earth, and I know that they do have my back, because when you talk about foxholes and stuff like that in the military, you're first in boot camp with these people.
Yeah.
And then I don't know about other services, but with the Marine Corps, after that, you go to 2 weeks of training, combat training. Then after that, you go to 3 or 4 months of school, depending on what school you got. And then you go again into another training, and you form relationships with these people. One of my first roommates was from West Virginia. White boy, I will never forget his name, Duran Duran. He had never seen a black person in real life, and this is in 2000. And I'm like, what's like, this can't be real life. But we ended up being best of friends, like his mom and the people and all, and it was really cool. And it's a lot of people like that, so that's why I put my faith in the military, James, because like I said, I'm pretty sure the other branches are like the Marine Corps. When I meet different Marines, I see all type of different Marines, and we're in different, from police to everything, and we're cool. Even when we're on the different sides, we still understand. Devil dog, I'm with you. We went through the same thing. We got this. So however everything's playing out, I'm kind of not worried about it. I don't like all the people dying. I don't like ICE pulling all the people and sending them different ways and people losing families. But we need a wake up call.
I agree. I agree 100% on that. Yeah. Yeah. It shouldn't have had to come to this, but it did. It's going to wake a whole lot of people up.
It had to come to something. We've been waiting for too long.
So Derek, you're telling me that we've been asleep since 1972?
No, earlier, longer.
We've been asleep a long time. I mean, varying degrees.
I mean, with the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act and Fannie Mae and all. I mean,
that only affected us. Now everybody's getting affected. White farmers, white people, white women getting beat. It's affecting them now. That civil rights shit, all that, James, that only affected minorities. Now it's affecting people are getting hit, and their pike is now their minorities because they aren't in that $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 tax bracket.
Derek, what's your thoughts here? I mean,
I mean, yeah, it really is.
I think we've been asleep for 400 years, but that,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think that freedom isn't free, and some rich dead white guy said this, but eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. See, if you don't you got to keep fighting for it every day, because we never arrived. We made progress. We really did. But hell, it's getting clawed back like a, right? I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm talking about. Like an MF, it's getting clawed back. And so, we're going to find ourselves.
It's like a backed up sword. You can say that. It's okay.
Well, I mean, I could, but I don't want to go there. But it's almost, again, it's like that frog. You put him in a cool
water,
on the stove in a cool pot. You turn it up, and then he just gets to the point. He's comfortable, but he gets to the point he can't move because he's become comatose. And I'm one who really, really. I hammer this all the time, and I guess part of this is me being a historian and having kids and all this other thing. I think that we, in many instances, I think our generation, I'll say my generation, you're a little older than me, but you were like the first of the affirmative action group, even though you were overseas probably at that time, but because that was like the first group that they said, come on in, we need more diversity. We've done some things. We need to make some amends. And I think that.
But I also remember in 1968, I couldn't come home because my house was burned down in Newark.
And I think a lot of us, though, we didn't do a good job of making sure our children understood, again, that freedom isn't free. And every day on this earth, you a black man and you a black woman, and you can't forget that, because there are people who won't forget that, and you're going to get judged by when they see you the first time. Now, a lot of times it's like that's your buddy in the military. Like, see, he had never had exposure. And then when you guys, he said, man, he's just like me. He wants the same thing I want. He wants to raise a good family, have a good job and a career, and live in decency and be respected as a man, a full man. And so, but we got to keep fighting for that. And so our kids, don't too many of them don't get that. And so we just did a disservice to them, because we sent them out there butt naked thinking that they were ready, and they weren't ready. And this country wasn't ready for them. And so, that's just this pet peeve of mine, because I hate to see, because exactly, let me tell you this, and you may not, Masada, you may not, certainly know who this is, but certainly when I was growing up, man, I was deep into me some Richard Pryor, because Richard Pryor, like, his daddy talked to him, but like, and it was real talk. When he said, when you get stopped by a car, he says, you got your hands on the wheel right at the right place, Officer Tinsley, I am reaching into my pocket to get my wallet. Ain't no making no sudden moves, because this thing I had to tell my kids, especially my boys, look, we get you home, we can challenge and fight anything, but we can't do nothing if and not that you can make sure the cop doesn't kill you or take advantage of you, but you don't want to give him no half-ass reason or excuse because cop can get away with almost anything, and so what did Chris Rock say? Hey, all this stuff was always happening, but now we got cameras, now we got phones, and so I don't know. I just think that we send them out in like sheep in wolf's clothing if we don't prepare them and let them know that every day of your life, brother, you got to remember, because they ain't gonna forget that you're a black man in America and you're seen as a threat a lot of times, and you just, but there's a reason that we're feared because we are so powerful. We are so brilliant, but we got to know, where we are and who we are.
Now, Masada, I may be wrong, but you raise young men. Now, do you have to give the same message to your children that I had to give to mine? And when I gave that speech to mine, of course, I was a racist and, so forth and so on because, we were supposed to be good little Negroes back in those days. That's even before Brother Derek did. But my point is, I had to teach this to my son. He had to teach this to his son. Are you still teaching this to your son, Masada?
Unfortunately, I have to teach him that way. I have to teach him several different ways, but I do have to tell him that we're not the same. Social media helps a little bit now. Honestly, a funny story with that. Every time we pass by, my kids see police. They yell out the window, "Whoop whoop!" That's the sound of the police. Whoop whoop! That's the sound of the beast. And we played them the KRS original song and had to tell them why and everything. And they scream it a lot, and I allow them to when we're passing by, hoping it disrupts them, especially when we see them with a black person. My kids already know. They sing it loud because they hope 6-year-old twins and 10-year-olds, this is how bad it is, and this is how I say we've been asleep. When we pass by and they see that it's a black or a Latino person or a brown person, they scream it louder because they want to hope that it distracts the police from doing something bad to that person. And when I have to do that and think about this type of shit, y'all, this is where I'll be like, you know what? Shut your mouth, because this is where I'd be like, what the fuck is going on with the world? What's going on with America? When everything we talk about to me sometimes is asinine because we're asking why, and we know once again why. All white men are scared that black people, black men in general, can lead and do something that they can't, and they know that they have nothing to offer besides their money and their power, and they're trying to hold on to that and keep up with the money and power and make us look stupid. So for years we've been having to be, once again, Obama or Trump. We've been having to be the good boys. We've been having to tell our kids this. We've been having to tell, we got to go to school, and if you get in a fight or you do this, you got to do this. I'm tired of that. I'm so tired of that. Like, I am so happy that everything's happening now, so people can feel, they can feel what we're feeling. And even with like the Biden thing, I think about that now, and I'm thinking about what did they do, and I'm like, I have a song where I have said where Asian people are saying that they feel how I feel, and so they got a bill passed to protect them because COVID made them feel how I was born. COVID made them feel how I was born. People were looking at them like they were sick, they were a disease, they were scared of them just because they were
China
Asian.
virus, the China virus
The
is
China
what
virus.
he said. He called it, right? Yeah. And they
I
were
was
getting
born
attacked in the street, 70, 80-year-olds, women,
Yeah.
men, just beat down, just,
and they got a bill passed fast. I'm
Yeah.
still waiting on ours because
Mm-hmm.
I can go and fight that guy. It could be an Asian guy or girl. They can hit me with a bat and call me that word. And if I whoop their ass, they can say that I beat them up and now I'm in trouble. So I'm tired, James, of telling my kids that. I know I went on a little tangent, but this shit hard, y'all. Sitting there talking about this all the time
It
and
is
still
hard.
waiting for people to want to change when they know what's wrong. I mean, Emmett Till. I mean, I'm Mississippi again. Emmett Till. And then she got to die, and on her deathbed, the bitch get to say, "Oh, it was all made up." We knew that. We are. You don't got to tell us that. You know. So, and then I got the five things again. Like I said, we ain't watched in a while, but we were replaying it. I got to look at the Charlie Kirk, whatever his name. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? We don't know America racist. We don't know the KKK hasn't been outlawed. We don't know it hasn't been deemed a terrorist group. We don't know the good old boys can march through South Carolina, North Carolina, and this president tell them good job, and we just like he ain't racist, and everybody want to fight and tell me he ain't this and they ain't that. He ain't racist. America is racist, and I'm tired of America. So America has to burn from within, and she's about to burn within because those sisters and brothers of America, and I ain't talking about ones that look like me or I call brothers and sisters. I'm talking about America's sisters and brothers who are about to feel the pain and realize that they got gamed and got said that they were a consensus of white just so they can fight us. Because back in the days before, they didn't have all those people as whites. They were Irish and other different things. And so now they about to find out once again the hierarchies, the economic level and status that they thought they had, they don't really have. And it's about to burn itself inside. And I'm about to watch the whole movie. And my boys, they're good because they're going to be resilient but militant and know that they ain't got to stand on this shit no more.
You know, I know a lot of young people, Masada, who that's one of the things that they say, that they think the whole thing needs to be tore down. And I'm not saying necessarily, I'm not saying violently, but I'm saying it needs to be just broken down, started over from the ground up, because it just doesn't work for most people.
It never worked for most people. It wasn't made by most people. It was made by rich white people back in the day, rich old white dudes. That, like I said, they didn't include women. So women, I love y'all out there, but use your brains. They didn't include y'all, white women. They never included y'all. They treat y'all like
we were 3/5 of a man just for the sake of the South to have more votes.
Yeah,
because they counted the slaves as 3/5, but
and guess how they did that now? Ain't that the electoral college now? Ain't that the system they use for the electoral college now?
You know, see, Masada, you know, if you're tired, I have to be exhausted.
Yes. That's why I'm doing it for you too, my brother. That's why I'm talking to the old heads. I'm talking to the older heads. I'm talking to, listen, when I say this, Derek, I'm not talking to just black people. I'm talking to everybody out there who has a heart and who has common sense to know that we need each other. So white women, white men, Asian, Middle Eastern, older people like you, James, older than you, everybody. That's when it's going to start making a difference because y'all are exhausted. These young people just started and they already tired too.
Yeah.
We just got to give them an action plan. And I'm with nonviolent, but when you have an ICE, what is the counter to ICE? You know, we need the counter. So with everything that we're talking about and we're discussing, obviously we all want to come with love. We all want to come with humility, and we all want to come with common sense. But you ever try to argue with an ignorant ass person?
Well, you know, I mean, I might be wrong here, but I think that there was a organization in Mississippi called the Deacons of Justice.
Deacons of Defense.
I knew it was something. I mean, so there is a way to combat. I mean, you know, because you know they certainly did their part, but you know, going back to, you know, as far as Stokely Carmichael and some of the other, you know,
A-Trap Brown, that whole group,
as you remember, is there logically a way to overturn this particular type of government without violence? I mean, this government was built on violence. We had a war. It wasn't about diplomatic, diplomacy. You know, and then, you know, when we decided that we wanted New Orleans and no, we had the War of 1812.
That's right.
Them
They
people,
took got California through that. What,
yeah,
Arizona,
and then after that, we had another war, and the Spanish American War in California, Cuba.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
this country is not built on diplomacy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how do we overcome that when we are basically relegated to being a minority because we don't have the power over the tools that were meant to govern this country? We do not control. It has been proven by this administration that the Constitution is just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Derek, I'm gonna get,
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I can't. I'm
it's
not going
kind
to
of
argue
time
with
for us to get
what.
out of here, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
kind of give you the final word on that.
Well, I mean, you're right. Everything again. The old Republicans, they believed in the rule of law. We at least whether we liked them or disagree with them or not, they believed in the rule of law. Ain't no rule of law. Ain't no law here. The law is Donald J. Trump and whatever the heck he wants to do until enough people say enough is enough. And I mean, you're right. We got to have the elected officials got to develop a backbone and got to stand up, and the American people have to do it. And I think the American people are doing it and are waking up now
But
because
the man is declaring martial law, Derek.
yes, he is. He says, what does he always say?
Martial
Well, he
law
says
is
there's no reason I can't do it, So,
a
I mean, and guess what? So Venezuela, which produces the most oil of anywhere in the world, if they don't watch out, he's gonna go in there and take that from Maduro, because that's
well, he's
where
already
this is heading.
bombing. He's already bombing
That's what
Iran.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Because they wanted to turn Gaza into a resort, the Gaza Strip, and I don't know if that's still on the table, but that was the plan. I mean, it's just straight up a whole nother way. I mean, he is. There's this gangster element there, right there. Gangster in the soup kind of element there.
I think you're chicken shit. I don't think it's gangster.
Even though, as you said, bunions or whatever it was kept him from putting the uniform on. And what he say, I like people who didn't get captured. So I don't know. It's inconceivable. I can't even wrap my hands or my head around it. It's just so alternative universe. But I agree with Masada. We needed a wake-up call. God forbid it was this, but this is what it is, and we all in it now. We knee deep in it. We're neck deep, and we're gonna have to. If we don't wake up, enough of us don't wake up in Congress, because you know what? 3 co-equal branch of government, right? Executive, legislative, and judicial. But
that's what we were.
That's not what we're seeing, right?
That's what we were taught in our.
That's what we were taught. Yeah. But for many years, it was that way. It wasn't. That didn't make it fair, but it was a hell of a lot more balanced than it is now.
No, it worked just like it is now. We just didn't have once again, like the Chris Rock thing, we just didn't have all the cameras and all the media to show it. Also, they didn't have nobody acting an ass like this. That's why young people are like me, and younger people are saying that it needs to be torn down, because when this was made, it wasn't made with anybody in mind except who it's been working for years. It's been working for years, great like this. For the problem now is that it's affecting people outside of the minorities. It's not affecting the lower class people anymore. It's affecting a lot of more majority people who thought they weren't going to get affected. And so now everybody's saying that American system. I used to always tell my homies and everything, and they'd be like, yo, the system is fucked up. The system don't work good. No, the system works. The justice works just like that. Everybody except just us.
Just us.
We out. It's just us. Justice works just like it's supposed to. So when you're like the Congress people or everybody elected officials, why they aren't doing anything is because they want that system to stay in place. But it's happening because the system, like every young person is saying, and I'm saying, even I hate to even say this, even Trump said it. We need to redo the Constitution. We need to redo everything because it's not made for people in the 21st, 22nd century. We need to start with minds from 2000s, 2010s, and forward. Everything that we did. You ever seen Dave Chappelle show? Anybody saw the Chappelle show?
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
He
on,
made
man.
a skit about when it went down with feathers and all. We still are going off of people that we showed them an iPhone right now. They would think I was a world magician or a god. So we're still living off of those old rules. Everything gets updated from our phones to everything except the Constitution, our laws. Nothing to get it gets updated. We need an update. Maybe not a whole reset, Derek, but an update to include everybody and to include the 22nd century or the 21st century.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think young people, and this is going to help young people get engaged, I think, because when you feel this heat, because people didn't think it mattered, but there's stuff that matters. And if you want to live, there's a reason that people die coming to this country, walk 1,000 miles from Central America and deal with the coyotes and the rapists and all these people. Yeah. So it we do, even jacked up as it is, we have something special here. And so we got to be willing to, again, I'm not saying fight that way, but we got to be able to fight for it if we want to keep it.
They always say, if you're ready, you don't got to get ready.
That's it.
Stay ready so you don't got to get ready. That's all I'm trying to tell our people.
There you
I'm
go.
not trying to tell anybody to be violent. I'm just trying to tell everybody be ready because they're ready. They are ready. Because remember when Obama was elected, they bought more guns than any time in U.S. history. I mean, everybody had a handful of them.
Here's the thing, though. See, we will be the last ones to know when the revolution comes.
We know it now. I'm telling everybody it's here now. So
and this one will be televised.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it to be funny or anything, but that's kind of the way it is. I mean, until I saw a Trump rally not too far away from my house, and I walk by and see who's there, and notice the Trump placards in the yard and all that, and just because you take them down does not remove who you are.
Yeah.
So once again, at my age, it's hard for me to trust a system that has betrayed me so many times when I have tried to embrace it. So, Derek, you're one that has been in that system and has been able to embrace
navigate it.
I mean,
well, that's what it was, brother. You're swimming from sharks now all the time.
Hey, I mean, as you said, some people walk. People from Cuba used to swim through them,
That's it.
So I mean, there are sacrifices that have to be made. I understand that, and I understand, having been there, I understand, like I don't want to die. I understand that. I've never went into any type of battle thinking that I'm the one that's not coming home ever. But maybe that's why I'm here and they're not. But how do I keep? See, I'm kind of like Masada. I'm tired of surviving. I want to thrive. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest, and people close to me say that I'm always optimistic. I'm the least optimistic I've been probably in my lifetime. I still think we'll get through it, but we're gonna have battle scars for days, and there will be changes. There will have to be changes, or we won't survive as a country. Certainly not the country, we have now. And so there's gonna be a reckoning now, and I agree. You're tired of it. And, that's what it said. We need to be tired of it, sick and tired of it. But Fortunately, like Masada said, there are a lot of people who don't look like us who are also getting sick and tired of it, and we just need enough of them willing to make a stand, willing to put some skin in the game, and we can get that change. But I don't know how much pain we're gonna endure in these years if health allows him to stay here, because he has some health issues, and so but yeah, it's gonna be something.
Yeah, but see, that's even scarier because that means there's so
The
much we can
alternative,
do.
right?
Then we got JD Vance.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
God!
yeah.
And I mean, so, but Masada, I want to kind of leave you with this because I think, well, you might not be able to relate, but I used to have a lot of recurring dreams, and one of the ones that I had, especially when I was in Vietnam, I would have these dreams where I would always be the soldier. And I wanted to have just one dream where I could be the general.
Mm,
you know, I don't want to keep coming back, in this precarious position.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, I kind of feel like this is the way that we are in society. As black and brown people,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
always the soldiers. We're always the ones that's in the forefront of the battle.
Taking a
How come,
beating.
how come we can't sit back and let the white people fight this battle for
yeah,
us?
yeah. And and there are some of this is really their fight. You're right, and it's like I know a lot of people aside in the civil rights movement who uh, they felt like they were in a war zone all the time in the 60s and the 50s. There's no post-traumatic stress, and a lot of them, whether it was drinking, drugs, too much sex, too much whatever, because just and I know a
I'm
couple that
seven
committed
thousand
suicide.
miles away from home and don't have a home to come back
There
to.
you go. And and
Okay,
and and then a lot of times you were treated better wherever you were than
of
than
course,
than when you
yes,
came back
sir.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hey,
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling
My
you,
old man did 2 tours in Nam and one in career, got shot down out of a copter in Nam, and that's when he finally retired. And so yeah, no,
So,
I mean I didn't live it, thank God, but him and his 7 brothers, I said they did it all. They did enough for me and my sons. And so
yeah.
thank you
yeah,
to
man.
them. Thank you to them. But this ain't our fight, James. You don't got to be the
Yeah,
soldier in this one. You don't got to
there
be
you
the
go.
general in this one. You're
There
going
you
to be the
go.
bystander watching because their skin is in it more than ours now.
That's right.
That's one
That's right.
thing I will lead on resilience. We've been resilient for so long, and we know how to eat scraps. We know
That's it.
how to
That's
do
it.
this. We know
That's it.
how to the water ain't on or the lights ain't on, or we know how to have bad days. You know who don't know how to have bad days?
That's right.
Those
You're
people
right.
who ain't used to it. Those people
Yeah.
who calling in, those farmers and all, seeing Venezuela or seeing Argentina and them eat now, and they're like, "Yo, my farm is going bad. This is their skin is in it now." That's
That's
why
it.
even with ice happening and people are looking at us, are y'all gonna come help us? And we're like, you know what? With 500 years of fighting now, we really tired now. So,
Mhm.
but what I want to encourage my people is we're not going to be able to be in the background for too long. So, James, we are going to be able to be in the background, but only for a few because everybody else needs our strength.
Yeah.
That's why when I talk about women, we know about the civil rights, but do everybody know that that's when women got the right to vote and they all got attached to the civil rights? Everything gets attached to black people when we're doing something.
Absolutely.
It gets attached to it, and then that's when the momentum goes. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna be here. We're gonna have to let them take it first on the chin and take it more while we're sitting back and saying, "We told y'all." That's what we're doing now. Y'all didn't want to believe us. We told y'all. Just keep waiting, and that's why I keep waiting. I hear people talking about. I know. I got Middle Eastern homies and people that own stores and all, and they're like, "Man, these terrorists fucked us. These terrorists, these terrorists." And I just be looking at them like, "Who did you vote for?"
There you go. There you go.
Because on my level right now, I'm chill. I've been through the hardships. James, you've been through it. Derek, we've been through the hardships. So now let them feel it too a little
That's it.
bit.
That's it.
And we can't just our problem is what I'm scared of, what not even scared of, what I don't want to happen is I don't want us to be too complacent. Yeah. And then it gets too bad, and then we try to come on, and those people are like, y'all didn't help us. They need to feel it. They need to feel it enough to where you say their skin get in it. They feel it once their skin get in it. Then we need to come up, and we need our leaders and our people to come up, and us to be like, okay, now we're here. We're no longer the shield, but we're here.
Yeah. Now we're really brothers in the struggle, because now you got a taste of what my life has been for generations. Okay, now let's get to it now, right?
Yeah. We ain't gonna give them generations, but they're gonna have the longest 4 years.
There you go.
My brother.
So, how does it go? Walk them out in my shoes.
There you go.
But I ain't got no shoes.
Everybody about to find that they're more black than they thought they were.
I need a pair of shoes. I've been walking the mile without my shoes. I want some shoes now. Spanish, what is zapatos? Ain't that what they call them in Spanish? My feet are tired. My back is tired from trying to carry y'all.
We ain't have to do it no more though. We're just gonna have to be. We're gonna be the final blow. We don't have to deliver the first blows and take the first blows no more. So, I talk different a little bit right now because I believe it. Derek, don't ever give up your hope, my brother. I think it's time. I don't even think I feel it's time. I feel the world feels that. That's why we have this podcast. That's why there are other shows. That's why people are talking about it. The young kids, trust me, I got to get back on social media. But when I'm on there, they're not quiet. People are not quiet. I don't think people are quiet. And all that does is faster. And the more it festers, we got 3 years to see what's going on. I keep stopping because I'm like, yo, is he sure it's been 9 months? And I'm like, yeah,
it's not a year until January 20th. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm not without hope. I'm not without hope, but I'm just not, I'm not as optimistic as I was.
Be it though, because these young kids, look, these YGs, I don't call them YNs, I call them young guys. These young G's, they're there with this. Yeah. We just need to get them more. They're looking for us to do an action plan and put something together for them because they're just waiting. Y'all heard of 24-hour music festivals?
Yeah.
Yep, 24-hour music festivals. Look it up and see what's happening.
Wow.
Okay. See what's happening. Yeah. So it's coming, and the world is here, and we're going to be all together. So my final thoughts and final words on that is: careful what you wish for, and that's not for us. Right. Careful what you wish for.
You ain't lying. True that, brother.
As I said, as I've said many times, I think hope has been weaponized so many times by so many different factions. I'm kind of more waiting to see action. I've been hoping for this crop to come in for so long, and when the crop, instead of bearing fruit, all of a sudden it's eaten by the flies and the insects. You don't want to spray them, you don't want to kill them, so do you let them eat your crop? I mean, what do I do here? But Derek, that's my wrestling with my conscience and whatnot. Take us home, please.
Well, as Masada said, my old boss Joe Lowry used to say, when white America gets a cold, black America gets pneumonia. And the problem is, though, now white America is getting a touch of pneumonia, and they don't know what to do with it. Too much of white America that's been really comfortable.
They got a vaccine for that, though, Derek.
That's right. That's right. You think about these young, angry white men that are doing a bunch of crazy stuff because, they're seeing, some of them are seeing their privilege even being challenged. And wait till the poor ones, because the poor ones, they're going to feel it. So, you're right, Masada. Every day, somewhere, there's some kind of big mass shooting, some crazy stuff going on. and we're feeling it. We're aching as a country, and I think there's going to be a reckoning.
We just had one the other day, 4 people killed and 20 people, 25 wounded or something.
Almost every day, at least 3 or 4 times a week, there's another one somewhere else. And so I mean, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. But I pray that when we get through it, we don't ever go back this way again. And that's because I hope that at least in our lifetime, we don't see it again, because I hope that we learn our lesson.
I'm with you, because if it's up to me, I intend to be here another 24 years.
There you go.
So I want to see the change.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I want to see what it looks like after a century here on Earth.
I love it. I love it.
So, so hey guys, I appreciate your time tonight. I know Demetrius is kind of stuck somewhere in the world. I don't know exactly where, but Demetrius will be back next week. I want to start talking a little bit about the 3 cities of Chicago, Minneapolis, and how we here in San Diego, also, whether we realize it or not, we already have portions of this Project 2025 already embedded in our cities and embedded within our city councils and our mayor's offices. So, it's time to be very vigilant, especially when you're talking about playing politics here. So, maybe we'll have a purple revolution, and that'll be part of our solution, because supposedly the red side now says they've made a mistake, and want to rectify this. But as I said, once you have that taste of power, sometimes it's hard to back away from the table. So have a good week, everybody. We'll see you here next Tuesday. Thank you so much, Masada, for your time, and thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate it. And Derek, we're gonna have to get together. I want to see some guests. I want to talk to some of the people that have at least a little bit of the power, and I want to sit at the table with you guys and see what kind of feast you are offering.
Yeah, let me go to work on that. And a great show too. A lot of people away from California are very interested, particularly with you all as brothers in California, because I'm interested in the whole dynamics. Because your governor's pushing back on what's going on in Texas, and I think, to me, I think it's a beautiful thing. Somebody had the balls to say, Gavin Newsom, but I'd love to hear what the Black folk feel about that, and what they feel about California's role in that. It's because California, has a certain reputation, right?
Yes.
And so for the rest of the country, it would be very insightful to look at some of that. So that's something maybe to think about on one show.
Yeah, California's reputation is like this. We had what's the old guy, Rodney King, and then we had riots. Florida had Trayvon Martin, and they didn't have anything. That's California. I got California. I didn't like some policies and a lot of things, but I like his backbone. We ain't doing that.
Right. That's right. Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
So why the rest of them ain't doing it?
Yeah, big ups to him. Yeah, big ups to him. And so, all right, brothers, I appreciate you.
Have a great night, everybody.
On the other side.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Peace out.
Peace out. James, stay on for 1 second.
Okay.
All right. I just got to thank you. We still live.